Hello, everybody. It is me, your rookie virtual race car driver, William Lebowski, and I have dipped my toe into the waters of iRacing. And I've learned a lot, both, about racing a car and about what iRacing and sim racing is. And initially, as I was thinking about what I was going to say in this video, I came up with three things that I kind of learned, and they kind of turned out to be three disappointments. And it wasn't necessarily that they're negative things about iRacing. I just had certain expectations coming into iRacing that weren't really fulfilled the way that I thought they were going to be. That being said, I am really enjoying iRacing. I think iRacing is a great piece of software. I think it is a great sim. I think it is a great time. I think it is a great game all the way around. I think it is good. However, I just happen to think that these three things that stick out to me happen to be negative, but I do have positive things to say about iRacing as well. The first thing is that the Mazda MX-5 cars might be one of the more boring class of cars that you have to start your entry into racing in across a lot of different sims. And especially when you compare the Mazda MX-5 to the other cars that you can jump into. You can jump into, in the same beginner class, you can jump into an Indy car and fly around Charlotte Motor Speedway, or you can jump into a dirt car and slide around the outside of whatever they do in dirt tracks. And so when you compare those cars flying and sliding through mud and pavement and tarmac, and then like the putting around that happens in the Mazda Miata, it's just a little bit boring in that comparison. However, if you're looking at where you want to race at in the future, if you're looking at the series that are entertaining as you go down your license, obviously the MX-5 Cup leads to some more interesting races in my eyes. I am more about the road course races, so it does lead you to some more interesting things. But that being said, getting your start into it, you don't get to jump into any of the cool cars. You're not jumping in any GT3, GT4 cars. You're not getting into any, Group C cars. There's nothing fun necessarily off the bat when it comes to road course racing. Especially when you compare it to what you can unlock with some of the more traditional oval racing presets. The second thing that I found to be a little bit underwhelming is that the majority of the races available are oval races. And me personally, I did not come into iRacing to race ovals. Oval racing is kind of been a little bit boring to me. I'm a little bit done with oval racing. I think I have spent some time watching NASCAR, playing some NASCAR games, and just going fast, turning left in an oval gets a little bit boring to me after a while. Even if it's on dirt, even if you're going as fast as you're going in an IndyCar. That being said, I did, test out some of the IndyCar around Charlotte, and oh my God, that thing is so fast. It is more fun than putting around in the Mazda, MX-5 anyway. But when it comes to long-term racing, I'm just not interested in oval series, particularly when I could be doing long-term road course racing. And then the third and final expectation that I had, or maybe expectation is the wrong term, but the third and final thing that I learned was that a lot of the content is behind a paywall. I did kind of have this expectation that when you pay somewhat of a hefty subscription fee, that you kind of unlock everything or most things or a good portion of things. When it comes to iRacing, you really just unlock the standard basic class of entry-level class of racing that you enter in. And that's kind of it. You have to buy other tracks. You have to buy other cars in to enter other series. And so, in that aspect, yeah, it is a little bit, realistic in the sense of, having to pay to play. Literally, if you want to race, you need to have a car. So that is, it does attach you to your race, to your series, to your car a little bit more. But that being said, it was a disappointment to jump in and not be able to necessarily swim in all of the water that was provided in the iRacing ecosystem. Um, but I do want to spend some time talking about the positive aspects of iRacing, because there is a lot to be had. There is a lot there, and I don't think I'm really touching on it with saying, with leaving all of these negative expectations or negative realizations that I had about the game. This is incredibly rewarding and satisfying and a much more fun experience than racing against AI. It is incredibly more real, for the obvious reason that it is real racing. You are racing people, just like you, sitting behind their wheels at their computers, and you can really feel that. And the way that they have made the racing so smooth that even no matter how close you're getting is phenomenal. It is something that Warzone hasn't figured out. They haven't, every game of Warzone is buggy, but when you get into a game of iRacing, you could be like going down the road at 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, inches from another car, and everything's tracking perfectly, and even though maybe that other guy doesn't have the greatest of internet. And the other thing that makes it incredibly realistic is if you make one mistake during your race or during your run, you could ruin the rest of the weekend or the rest of the race, as it is in iRacing, the rest of your half hour. The grind does pay off. You do see improvement. You will see your skills grow. You will see results from the grind. However, it can be there's not many more frustrating racing experiences than grinding and grinding and grinding for hours, and then getting to the point where you're waiting a half hour for a race, and you get into your race and then you accidentally spin out on a corner or lose control in a corner, and now you've wasted the half hour and what feels like all of the time even before that. But those are my initial impressions of iRacing. I'm excited to get into it more. I'm excited to get better at it. I'm excited to show off some better racing. But this was my first iRacing race. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.